Hello, everyone. I just wanted to say first off, Happy New Year. Welcome to the first episode of PK's Place in the New Year, episode 19, that is. I hope everyone had a good New Year. I hope everyone, first off, made smart choices. Hopefully, that if you did consume any alcohol or drugs, that you did it in a way, in a safe way, and in a way that did not put anyone else at risk, especially on New Year's Eve, since it's a big drinking holiday. Especially, I hope that everyone who did decide to go out and have a good time, that they were able to get a ride back and that they were not drinking and driving. Because let's be honest, that's the last thing we need in the world is drinking and driving. Especially, we don't need more people being put at risk, whether you kill yourself or even worse, you kill someone else. You wreck your car. It's just not needed. There's way too many ways to get a ride somewhere. So I hope that everyone was able to do that. Hopefully, you rang in the new year with friends, family, loved ones, anyone that you care about. I'm personally here to say let's make 2022 a good one. I mean, it's like you can only go up from here. You know what I mean? But yeah, hopefully everyone had a good New Year. I know I did. Just spending it with the lads. But yeah, today's gonna actually be a little different. Today, I'm actually thinking of just doing a solo episode. I'll have a guest on next episode. I know it's crazy, obviously, like first time doing it solo, but yeah, I just wanted to try, just kind of speak my mind. Just there's some top points of topic that points of conversation I want to bring up. So let's get started. The first thing I actually am going to start with is since I'm recording this on a Monday, so this was post obviously week 17 in the NFL, aside from the Monday night game, Cleveland Baltimore, that I'm not going to be able to cover. But week 17 was honestly one of the craziest weeks I've seen, and it's only been for me a few years since I've been religiously watching NFL football. If I'm going to be completely honest, I've been watching here and there for a while, especially just like here and there, like mainly watching games. But this is like the last 2 years, the first times I've actually kind of watched like Red Zone religiously and um, all these things. So watching Red Zone was insane. And I just wanted to give a shout out to the Instagram account, BD Gridiron. If anyone wants to follow them, you should. They do a great job. They actually provided a list of things that happened during this week. So I felt like it'd be good to obviously use that list and keep my thoughts in order. So I think the biggest story, obviously, that came from week 17 was the whole Antonio Brown saga. So if there's anyone out there who did not watch that Jets Bucks game specifically or didn't watch Red Zone, basically what happened was Antonio Brown was on the sideline and he was upset about something. I think what it is remains to be found. Even though a friend of mine did send me a video that I'm gonna have to watch later, but basically Antonio Brown proceeds to take his gear off, takes his shoulder pads, jersey, even takes his compression shirt off, so it's just him shirtless, right? So he takes it off, he throws his shirt into the crowd, throws his gloves into the crowd, and then he makes his way to the end zone and almost like doing jumping jacks, like basically waving like, yeah, like, I'm getting out of here. So he leaves. And I could tell you from me watching it, I was sitting there, I was laying in my bed watching it, and I'm thinking to myself, what? Like, and obviously this is gonna be dimed up, so this will be $5 for me, but I was like, what the fuck is he doing? I was so confused. I was like, what is he doing? And oh my God, it was crazy. I don't think I've ever seen that really in any sporting event. I don't think I've seen a player just quit, just basically be like, yeah, I'm taking myself out of the game. Normally you would see like, normally you would see him get thrown out by an official, or it doesn't happen often, but sometimes coaches even will say, go to the locker room, like, get out of here. But not that. That was crazy. I've never seen anything like that. And I think Tampa did the right thing. I think it was the least shocking thing they could have done where Arians after the game says he's no longer a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. I mean, you saw that coming from a mile away, and good on the Bucks for also still coming back and winning that game. I mean, I hate to say it, Jets fans, but Brady, he's still your daddy. Like he still owns you. Not as much as, although it's tough because I think Jets and Bills are like 1A, 1B for teams that Brady owned in his time with the Patriots. My aunt and anyone's like, what about the Dolphins? Not really, because the Dolphins had gotten some upset wins against Brady. Obviously, everyone remembers in 2019, which was obviously NFL 100. Everyone remembers Brady's last regular season game with the Patriots being against the Dolphins at home, and they lost. And then obviously, it leads to them losing to Tennessee, and he's gone. But then there was also that kick return or whatever it was where I forget who the play. I think it was Kenyon Drake. I think I could be wrong, but I think it was Kenyon Drake returned one, and they win. So Brady hasn't had the best. He's had some bad games against the Dolphins. Not this year, obviously, because the Bucks whooped the Dolphins. But yeah, he has 30 wins against both the Bills and the Jets, and it wasn't surprising that Brady was able to pull it out of his butt, and find a way to get that win. And like honestly, like even like for me, like Antonio Brown, I've always thought he's a tremendous talent, great wide receiver. Like don't get me wrong, he's a dog, but it like something like this is almost like hard for me to defend because he's had so many chances in the league. Like Pittsburgh, like things went sour in Pittsburgh. Then he met with management. They decided to move on. Oakland, that whole saga was bizarre. I mean, the cryotherapy, the issue with the helmet, then him getting cut. And then obviously there's that video of him when he's free and he's so happy. Then he goes to the Patriots. And I remember hearing that news. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, let's see what he does with the Patriots. Obviously scores a touchdown against the Dolphins, which they murdered them. But then, issues still come up. Something happened, like someone accused him of assault or something like that, and obviously, Bill's like, get out of here. So that happens. Then he gets suspended for 8 games because of some other issue. Last in 2020, I think this was like before the pandemic, he got suspended, and then obviously, uh, Brady's like, we got to get like I want AB. So Arians was hesitant, and I understand why Arians was hesitant, but at the same time, he's Tom's guy, kind of, because Tom really liked playing with him for that one game, and they were willing to give him a chance. I'm not just happy that he was able at that time he was able to come in, put his head down, work, turn it around, win a Super Bowl, catch like 5 catches, a touchdown in the Super Bowl, which I should add, tough game for Tyrann Mathieu there. I mean, not only he just tries to chirp Brady, and Brady gets fired up, gives it right back to him. The last thing you want to do is fire Brady up, and then AB just puts him in the absolute blender in the end zone to catch that touchdown pass. And seeing him win the Super Bowl, I thought it was kind of like a great comeback redemption arc because I like comeback stories. A lot of people like comeback stories, and it was just great that he was able to overcome those past demons and do well. And I'm not just saying that also because I had him on my fantasy team. I mean, I did draft him with my last pick because I figured he would come back and sign with someone. And then it even looked that way this year. I mean, he got off to a hot start, but then you have the whole like he faked the vaccine card, which I mean, like not getting political, like it's your choice. If you want to get vaccinated, that's your choice. That's none of my business, obviously, but I think he should have just been upfront and honest that he was not vaccinated, but he faked it. And, when you get caught faking it, you pay the consequences. So he paid that consequence. And then he said, oh, it's all drama. It's not about football. But then he does that. So it's honestly, long story short, it's honestly just really tough to defend what he did. And I think if you're Tampa, I honestly think sadly, it was the right move to move on from him as you don't need that distraction anymore. But I also wanted to focus, before moving on to the next topic, I just wanted to say that I think it's good that Tom Brady has his back, or at least in the sense that he said, it's clear that he's someone who needs help, and there should be no shame on Antonio Brown's part that he needs help. It's just that he's saying that we need to be for him, and he'll be great. When he gets back, he'll be really good. It's just not going to happen on our team. But I just think it shows how much of a class act Tom Brady is, especially that like you could see that like people would just kick Antonio Brown while he's down for making a dumb choice. But the fact that Tom Brady actually was saying, no, we need to show him compassion. We need to be supportive. You need to show him support, even though even if he's got things he needs to figure out. I thought was really good. So that's enough on that. Next was the Cincinnati and Kansas City game. Coming into the season, I don't think I would have thought Cincinnati versus Kansas City would have been a great game. Boy, was I wrong. I was wrong. I mean, this game was unbelievable. This game was great. Not only have Kansas City humming again like they have been. I mean, they got off to a slow start. Mahomes is a little cocky at the beginning of the year. He's found his game. Kelsey's found his game. Their offense is buzzing, and they get off to that good start. They go up two scores. But this goes in with the next point also about that game. I mean, Jamar Chase, what a talent. And it's crazy for people to have been dogging the pick back in April when they're saying, they're like, the Bengals should have drafted Penei Sewell. They should have drafted an O lineman. Now, I understood those schools of thought because obviously you want to build up an O line in football. But the reason I think in hindsight it's always 2020, but I think the reason the Bengals also made this right choice is that they were reuniting Joe Burrow with one of his best weapons he had at LSU when they had that unbelievable run in 2019 when they won the national championship. I mean, it was Chase and Jefferson, those two guys, and you see what they're doing right now in the NFL. Chase having a very similar year number-wise that Jefferson had with the Vikings last year. They're both really good receivers. And it's also weird to think that in the preseason, everyone was like getting on Jamar Chase about, you're saying he was having trouble catching the ball. And then you see him, I forget who they played the first game, but you see him the first game and you're like, no, he has no trouble catching the football. Like he's playing well. He's doing his thing, but it's just crazy. He had 11, if I get this right, he had 11 receptions, 266 yards, 3 touchdowns. Just that's a monster stat line. He was a big reason they won. And even crazier was that they have the balls to go for it on 4th down. They go for it. They don't get it, but then you notice there's a flag in the end zone. So it gives them another few chances. They smartly go with, we're going to just let this clock run, clock it, and then bring our kicker out, and then kick a game-winning field goal. It was genius. It was great. And I don't think many people at the beginning of the year would have thought Kansas City would lose to Cincinnati in this way. I don't think many people would. I didn't think they would. But it just shows how much improved Cincinnati is. And I could tell you this for sure. I definitely didn't think they were going to win the AFC North, but they did. So, I mean, kudos to Burrow. I've been a Joe Burrow guy. I think he's got such swag. I think he's got a lot of spunk. He's really good. And then even after the game, I don't know if anyone saw this, but he was smoking a cigar after the game, very similarly to when he won the national championship against Clemson, and he's just sitting there in the chair with a cigar in his hand. It's just life. It's like time's a circle. Like life comes full circle. And then the Baltimore game, speaking of AFC North, Baltimore and LA and the Rams. So everyone obviously knew my thoughts on the best of episode of what I thought about the Ravens going for 2 against Pittsburgh and the Packers and how much of a fail that was. So I was almost waiting. I've always been waiting for these games when they play, if they are up, they score a late touchdown to take the lead. I've honestly been wondering to see if they are going to do this, if they're going to, roll to the right, which hasn't worked. I think they need to get rid of that 2-point conversion play call. You still go for 2, but go with a different play, especially with Tyler Huntley starting. why I'm bringing that up too is in the notes is that so Odell Beckham has played OBJ has played 7 games with the Rams since getting picked up, like since signing with them, and he's scored 5 touchdowns, including one last night where they did that Ravens play. Stafford rolls to the right and throws it to OBJ. Um, and obviously a lot of people have a lot of things to say about Odell Beckham. Obviously, you know his talent level is there, but and I know this isn't true, but it's almost funny how he didn't really play that great in Cleveland. Now I know people are going to say, "Well, Baker didn't get him the ball." That's true, but he wasn't that effective in Cleveland, and then he ends up getting out. And where does he go? He goes to a bigger city, LA, where he's where he'd rather be, warmer, and he's just like his old self. He's catching touchdown passes. Um, I think he's someone that is good for the Rams short term. Do I think he's going to be good for them long term? I think that has remained to be seen. Time will tell about that. But that was a gutsy win for the Rams, good win for the Rams. And they're going back to the playoffs. I think it's good for Matty Stafford that he's back in the playoffs. I mean, he has not made the playoffs in a number of years. I think like 2015, I think, or something like that. It's been like 5 or 6 years since he last made it with the Lions. Obviously, everyone knows why. Lions fans, they're a mess. And I think it's great that he'll be back. They do have it. We'll see if they do win the division. Time will tell on that. But yeah, that was crazy. And speaking of crazy, I should say, if anyone has not seen that clip after the Washington game against Philly, so Philly wins. Turns out Philly clinches a playoff spot, even though they are below San Francisco in the standings. And yeah, they're below them. So they clinched. So Jalen Hurts is leaving FedEx Field, which I think anyone who's a Washington football team fan out there knows that the stadium, FedEx Field, is not in a good location. It's not well upkept, and it's just not a great stadium. So this was more evidence of that. So Jalen Hurts is walking to the tunnel. And as he's about to go down the tunnel, there was this like railing where these Eagle fans were there. And, they're cheering their team on, their quarterback on after they just got a huge win, made the playoffs. So these fans like fall over the barricade and land into the tunnel. And to me, what's funny or what's impressive is how Jalen Hurts just was not rattled. He was not startled one bit by what happened. He kind of just looks at it and just takes it in stride. And I thought it was very nice of him to even, like I think the fans got a photo with him and all those things. And I thought, it was just very well done on his part that he remained calm. Where I feel like there's other players that would have maybe freaked out, been like, they would have been startled, but no, he wasn't startled. He was just kind of calm, and it was kind of interesting to see. I thought it was one of the funnier. I thought it was one of the funnier ones, funnier moments that was seen. Also, like another big story, like which actually going back to that before I go back to that point. Yeah, fan interactions with players has always been something that's interesting to me. Where you've seen so many go wrong, but I thought that was great that went forward, and we'll see how Hurts and the Eagles do in the playoffs. Sunday was a big scoring day for a few teams. Not surprising based on who they played. So the Lions gave up 50 to the Seahawks. Now, the only reason that might be a little surprising is that I think it's and sorry to say the Seahawks fans, but I think it's no surprise that they have not had a good year this year. The Seahawks are bad. I mean, they even lost to the Bears last week, like 2 weeks ago. And they lost to the Bears week 16 in the snow, not to Nick Foles. Not a good game. And they come back, and I think it just shows how good of a bounce back game it was. They come back against the Lions, which a weird stat that I read was that the Seahawks were 0-2 this year against backups. So they played Colt McCoy when Kyler Murray was hurt. They lost to Colt McCoy. They played Nick Foles because obviously Fields and Dalton were out. They lost. But this time they're playing Tim Boyle for the Lions since there was no Jared Goff. And they won. They put up 50 points. I mean, it's tough to see. I mean, Lions fans, like I get that Lions fans are obviously discouraged. I mean, that's like one of the core characteristics of being a Lions fan. I mean, they've endured so much heartbreak and disappointment, but I don't know. I feel like there's something about this Lions team where like I watch them and it's not like Lions teams in the past. It's not like last year with Matt Patricia where they were just a total disaster or not or what I forget their other coaches, but like it obviously isn't where like Jim Caldwell was, where they were actually like not a bad team. I think they were like 7-9 or something like that when they let them go, which obviously is like just below average. It's not 2-12-1 or 2-13-1, but it's not bad, or it's not bad if that makes sense. But yeah, Lions fans, it like I feel like it's weird to say it's gonna get worse before it gets better, but I think Dan Campbell has them playing the right way. I think he has them more importantly competing, and I think it's great that Dan Campbell's been having them compete personally. The other 50-point game, again, no shock. Patriots putting up 50 against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yeah, Jacksonville. It's tough. Letting go Urban Meyer, and they still suck. But I think that's another situation where it's going to get worse before it gets better. Trevor Lawrence hasn't been very good, but I don't think he really has that much around him. He doesn't have a great team around him, so that's a situation where they're going to have to really build the draft and really build a team around him, is what I think. And yeah, it's just it's just how it is. I mean, the Patriots obviously, that's their second 50-point game of the year. Their first was against the Jets. Obviously, not surprising that they put up a 50 piece against them. But yeah, Jaguars, it's tough. But Patriots, I mean, they make the playoffs. I mean, they make the playoffs after missing last year. Last year was obviously an off year with Cam. They're back. Now we'll see. We'll see how they do against Miami. That's their last game. We'll see. But I think it more hinges on if the Bills, how they do against the Jets. Because if the Bills win, they win the division again, which that's what I predicted. I predicted them to win. So if they win on this upcoming Sunday, I don't want to say I told you so, but I told you so. Uh, but yeah, the Patriots have had they've had a good year. Jones looks to be the answer. So I think it's good news for that franchise, and I'm interested to see where it goes and how they do. And then a big congrats, obviously, Trey Lance wins his first game. That game against Houston was a little sluggish, but I think Lance started slow, but once he got a little more comfortable, I think that's where he really saw what he can do. And I get it; it's the Texans. Texans aren't anything special, but yeah, I thought it was good for him to get a win, especially with Jimmy G out. I don't know, Jimmy G. I think Jimmy G is kind of a frustrating quarterback to watch because there's some games where like I'll watch him and I'm like, he looks so good. He's playing really good. And there's other games where he just sucks. Like that Tennessee game where they should have won. That's a tough game to watch. That's a game I think if they have a better quarterback, they win. Like they don't lose that game. But like it happens. And then obviously the other big news is teams that got eliminated. So sorry to Miami Dolphins, you've been eliminated. It was fun. I mean, just like if you think about it, what a wild season the Miami Dolphins had, going from obviously 1-0, they beat the Patriots. No one was expecting that. The Patriots should have won, but they fumbled. Then they go 0-7. Then they lose 7 straight. So you're like, what is happening to this Dolphins team? Because I will put my hand up. Bad prediction. I thought the division rankings for the AFC East were going to be Bills, Dolphins, Patriots, Jets. Boy, was I wrong. I was like, you know, I'm willing to say hand up. That was a bad take. But then they go and win 7 straight, so they go above 500. Crazy. But they ran into the Titans. I mean, the Titans, call what they are. They are a good team. They're a solid team, solid offensively. Ryan Tannehill, that's the other thing. Funny because obviously Tannehill is a former Dolphin. Watching Ryan Tannehill play in Miami, I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, this guy's not very good. Like, I didn't see much from Tannehill, but then he goes to Tennessee, and he's a whole new player. He's way better. He's actually like competent. So it's like he always had it in him. It was just a bad system in Miami. So no shock they won, and they're the 1 seed now in the AFC. So I think what I was reading up on, what's interesting, if the Tennessee Titans get this 1 seed and they get the bye, watch out in the division round because I think they could get Derrick Henry back potentially. And if they get Derrick Henry back, it's scary. Which I think the other crazy thing about Derrick Henry, how much of a mutant he is, I think he's still top 5 in rushing yards. And he has not played, I think, since week 8. So he hasn't played in 2 months. And he's still top 5. Obviously, he got past me. Jonathan Taylor's had an incredible year. And there's a lot of other good running backs that had good years. But man, Derrick Henry just he does not cease to amaze me when it comes to all those things, to be honest. But I guess I just looked at this. Turns out Antonio Brown said he was too hurt to re-enter the game. And then it says the Bucs coaches then told AB to leave if he was not going to play. So he left. And now obviously he got cut. So it's crazy. But yeah, it's honestly wild. And then Denver also, I'll say Denver got eliminated. Denver, it was weird. Denver, they had they won, they got out to 3-0, but I think everyone saw the writing on the wall where they're like, I don't think these guys are legit. Because I mean, at that point they played the Giants. I believe it was the Giants, the Jets, and the Jaguars, who had a combined record of 0-9. So they're playing all those teams, and then they kind of fall back to earth. They lose to the Chargers, so they're done. They are currently done. And then Cleveland, I mean, sorry, Cleveland, you're done. Because I mean, even that Christmas game, I'll say, like Baker played so bad that Christmas day. I mean, he talk about being in the Christmas spirit. He was way too giving to the Packers defense. Just being like, you want to pick, you want to pick, you want to pick. Here you go. But despite all that, they almost won that game. It's crazy. It's just really, really crazy. But I think that was enough. I do think that was enough football talk. Also, last thing, Packers, number 1 seed in the NFC again, 2nd year in a row. So, I mean, it's crazy, but yeah, road goes through the frozen tundra, so you gotta go up to the cold if you want to get to the Super Bowl. So a quick little break before we get going. So if you're someone who chews tobacco and you're looking for a way to quit or transition away from the harmful effects of the tobacco and the nicotine, well, I got a solution for you. Right here, I'm holding a tin of Canadips CBD. So Canadips is a company in Northern California that offers CBD, pouches. So there's no nicotine, no tobacco. It's not addicting. There's 10 milligrams per pouch, 150 total milligrams in the whole thing. So 15 pouches. Taste is really good. You feel relaxed. You feel good. And I think if you're looking to quit or even you're looking just to relax a little bit, I highly recommend you check out Canadips. So go to Canadips CBD. That is CANNADIPS CBD.com. And at checkout, use code Hughes15. That is HUGHES 15 at checkout. Get yourself a nice little 15% discount. You help me out, I help you out. It's win-win. So once again, that's cannabiscbd.com, code Hughes15 at checkout. So other sporting events that I watched, Winter Classic. Winter Classic was this past weekend. Crazy how just it's crazy how they were playing in minus Fahrenheit degrees and obviously even colder minus Celsius degrees. I think it was minus 10 Fahrenheit at one point. That's just crazy. I almost feel that if I had tickets to the game and I saw that it was that cold, I would try to sell them. I would be like, I don't want to go because I feel like it's almost like it's more enjoyable to just watch it in your home where there's heat, it's warm, you're under the blanket, the fire. It's a lot more enjoyable than just literally freezing your nutsack off in the cold like that. That's just what I think. But the game itself wasn't bad. I mean, honestly, I think it was probably better that the game was just frigid cold like that and no snow versus being like 30 degrees and just heavy snowstorm. Like, I don't know if I've said this, but I went to the 2014 Stadium Series game at Soldier Field when the Penguins played the Blackhawks. That might be one of the, I don't want to say the worst hockey games I've been to, but it was so tough because it was just so snowy. Like my pants, like my jeans that I was wearing, like the pants I was wearing, drenched in like water from all the snow. It was insane. And I believe I had a hockey game the next day. So my dad basically took me to the car and we basically didn't go in the rest of the game. I only watched the first period and then we left. We just listened to it in the car because he was saying if I didn't have a game, we would stay if I didn't have a game the next day, but I did. So he didn't want me to risk getting any hypothermia or anything. But I think that it was maybe a little better that it was just really like kick you in the nuts cold, that the visibility was clear. You could see everything. No problems with the ice, nothing. But no, it was also weird because St. Louis got out to a huge lead. They're up 6-2. But Minnesota made it a little bit of a game. They scored two more, make it 6-4. So I thought that was good that they actually made it more competitive because how many times could you think if you're losing 6-2 and you're going into the third period and you just want to mail it in? You're like, okay, we're gonna pack it up, we're done. But that is not what happened with the Wild. They did not mail it in. They kept going and they made it a game. So it just goes to show that you can, that no matter, like, just goes to show that you shouldn't quit and you should keep going personally. But yeah, it's crazy. It's just how it goes. So that's kind of what I think. So transitioning it a little bit from sports, we're going to talk a little bit about some movies I saw. So the big one that I saw between episodes was Spider-Man No Way Home. Sorry, for some reason I keep saying Far From Home. That was 2019, but that was the big one. So I just wanted to give it its proper due. So the first most impressive part about this movie to me, plain and simple, is the fact that even though it's still a pandemic, that this movie killed at the box office. This movie did so well. And I'm going to pull up these numbers for you. Spider-Man No Way Home, so far, as of early January 2022, worldwide has made $1.3 billion. That is no small feat in and of itself. That is impressive. It's made 609 million here in the US. And when you compare that basically when you compare that worldwide, when you compare that worldwide to the, or not even worldwide, when you compare it to all time, right now it's top 10 all time in the US for box office grosses. So inside that top 10, you have The Force Awakens, episode 7 of Star Wars. I mean, movie made almost $1 billion here in the US. Huge. Avengers Endgame, obviously, rightfully so. Avatar, rightfully so. Black Panther, Avengers Infinity War, Titanic, Jurassic World, The Avengers, and then The Last Jedi. So it's really impressive that Spider-Man No Way Home has been just killing like this at the box office, especially in a time when not everything obviously is open, or there's, or still people still don't really want to leave home. And I think it's great. So I'm basically just gonna give my no spoiler thoughts. I don't really not really give spoiler thoughts, but even though the movie's been out for a bit, I really liked it. I think this is the best in that Marvel Studios Tom Holland Spider-Man trilogy. I think that what they did with the character of Spider-Man is awesome. I think that it was very well done. There were some, and people will know what I'm talking about if you've seen it. There are some really good just cinematography, just great shots in this movie. There's one specifically of Peter in the late second act, soon to be third act, where it's dark out. It's phenomenal. It's it's just a gorgeous shot. They do a really good job also with and obviously this isn't a spoiler because they're in the trailers, but they do a great job with like Doctor Octopus and the other rogues of Spider-Man from from those universes. They do a great job, I think, with those characters, and I just really like the angle that they take with the final act. Like I think what they do is really well done, and I think even though I know there's some people I know that I've talked to about it that disagree with me on this, I think the ending personally is very good. I think that the direction that they go in with this ending, like I was thinking about it for days after and obviously I got to see it the next day after I saw it. So I saw it back 2 days in a row. So I really got to think about it. But man, it was very impressive to say the least. It was really, really well done. And I'm excited for what obviously the next Spider-Man movie is, especially how they left it. Um, but also what they do with the other plot threads from the movie. Um, and I just thought I thought it was well done. I thought Homecoming obviously was good. It was a good introduction to bring Spider-Man back. I thought Far From Home was not quite as good, but it was still fun. But this one just elevates it, and I'll even say like there are some moments in this movie that are unexpectedly very emotional and very good emotion in the movie. I mean, there's some great emotional acting in this. And I'm just sitting there in the theater watching it, and I'm saying, wow, so and so actor, like whatever actors in that scene, doing a hell of a job. They're acting their sack off. They're acting so well right now, and I thought that was great to see, and it even resolved some plot lines from other movies. So I think that was good. But yeah, overall I thought No Way Home was a very good time. I mean, if you haven't seen it yet, what are you doing? I mean, it's been out for a few weeks. I think you should get to the cinema and go see it. Um, and the next movie I actually saw was The King's Man. So if anyone has not seen like the Kingsman, what's the movie title? This is stupid. I'm sorry. I know like the franchise, but I'm trying to remember what's the. Oh, okay, that's what it is. Okay, so Kingsman: The Secret Service. If you haven't seen the Kingsman franchise, so Kingsman: The Secret Service, 2014, very fun movie, a very good take on the spy genre. The Golden Circle, though, I got to be honest, that's the sequel. Very disappointing. Very disappointing. I'm not. Um, I will say it's a little graphic, but I'll say it. The fact that the Golden Circle, there is an actual scene where Eggsy has like a tracker on his thumb, and he actually has to like basically like finger this girl, like put the tracker in her vagina. The fact that that's a scene in a movie is just so absurd to me. It's just like I'm just like, why was that in the movie? Why? Also, like in that movie, like Elton John's very distracting in the movie. Just the fact that he's there. Um, although, like I guess to be honest, if he's not in that movie, I wonder if Taron Egerton still actually plays Elton John in the Rocket Man movie. It's a question I've always thought of. But basically, the Kingsman is the prequel to those films. So the Kingsman is, long and short of it, the origin of it's a prequel. Obviously, this is the second prequel Matthew Vaughn is directed with. Obviously, X-Men First Class is the first one, and I think if that's any indication on how this one is, it's a pretty good sign because I had a lot of fun with this movie. But it's basically about the founding of the Kingsman Secret Service, about the agency. Um, I found this movie very charming. I found this movie very fun. I think for me, like I know he's the main character, but I think Ray Fiennes in this movie is so good, and I think he's criminally underrated too. I think Ray Fiennes is a tremendous, tremendous actor. Obviously, people know him as Voldemort in Harry Potter. He's I think he's M in the Daniel Craig Bond films. Yeah, because he was in the Bond films. He was in No Time to Die, but he's he really carries this movie. He's really good. And then even like Demon Hansu, who's a chameleon, he's in so many different movies. He's also really, really good. So yeah, I overall had a fun time watching The Kingsman. I think everyone should check it out. And then the other movie I watched was Don't Look Up on Netflix. This movie was good. This movie, I wouldn't say it was amazing, but this movie was had a lot of enjoyable things going for it. I think DiCaprio is once again amazing in this movie. I think him and Jennifer Lawrence play well off each other. But the thing that for me was really weird was just the fact that Ariana Grande and DiCaprio share a scene. Now, I got to be honest. I don't think I would have ever expected those two to ever be in a movie scene together. And my reasoning for that is sorry to any Grande fans out there. Like, don't get me wrong, tremendous, tremendous singer. Her voice is unbelievable. But I don't know. I just don't think she's I just I just don't think she's you know, I don't know, I just don't think she's a good actress at all. But I don't know. I just didn't expect that to happen, to be honest. I didn't expect her to share a scene, but no, yeah, it's very entertaining. I think it's a good take kind of on those contrivances or things like disaster movies or world's ending soon. I thought it was well done. So yeah, I thought Don't Look Up was good. I think you should watch that also on Netflix. And then the last another thing I'll bring up is the Harry Potter reunion. I watched the Harry Potter reunion, and then I've also watched the Friends reunion. And I gotta be honest, I think the reunion, the Harry Potter reunion, was way, way better. I thought they did such a good job on it. I think it's crazy to see how much older all those actors are. I mean, especially Radcliffe, Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, Rupert Grint. They're all in their. It's crazy. They're all in pretty much their 30s now, and it's just the thing that's to me is always crazy about Harry Potter, and it's funny because I also watched Sorcerer's Stone, or if you're in the UK, the Philosopher's Stone. What's crazy to me is just how good these child actors are because I feel like a lot of child actors just are not great, especially the fact that you got to. I mean, they're kids. I mean, obviously acting evolves, and some people are become better actors later. But just the fact that those three do such a good job carrying those movies. And it's even cooler to me is that you basically watch them grow up too, because I was I started watching Harry Potter when I was, I think, like 5 or 6. That was like after like Goblet of Fire or so came out. I started watching because obviously I was very young when like Sorcerer Philosopher's Stone came out, Chamber of Secrets, Azkaban, all those movies came out. But there's just something whimsical about them. They're so good, and I feel like it's such good escapism in those movies. And I don't know. I think if there's anyone who's not a Harry Potter fan, I think you need to check it out. I think you need to try to get into it. I think they're such fun movies. They're so well done. The acting's very good. And it's funny, like I told Joe Barry, that was like my introduction into British lore and like British culture, because just obviously like the amount of British actors that are in it, and obviously it takes place in England and all of that. I think it's just so cool. And I don't have enough good things to say about, I can't say enough good things about Harry Potter. So, and I thought the reunion was great. Obviously, seeing them all older and seeing them almost like hop back in, like there was, like they didn't miss a beat, like no time passed. Because I think even a quote in there was, "So much time has passed, but it doesn't seem like any time's passed at all." And that's kind of how it is sometimes. I mean, I think that I feel like that something that's very underrated in life is when you haven't seen someone in a while, doesn't matter when, whether it's a few months, a year, whatever it is, a few years, and you eventually see them again. I think it's so underrated when you like see someone you haven't seen in a while for the first time again. You know, you hug and you know, dap someone up and hear us talking. Just that rush of like excitement. I think it's so cool. And you did see that in this you saw it in the reunion. So that's kind of what I'll say on that per se. But yeah, it was, I found that it was a very, very good watch. So that's what I had to say about the movies that I recently watched as recently as that. Um, but yeah, real quick, I know obviously it's the first episode of the year, but I want everyone to take like a minute or so, like just close your eyes, think in your head. Obviously, if you're driving, please don't close your eyes. That's dangerous. Basically think of three things that you want to accomplish in 2022. Go ahead, think. And then when you have those, then you should come up with at least three things or three actions that you're going to take to accomplish those. So let's say for the hypothetical, you say, I want to get a six pack. That's one of them. You want to be shredded, right? I know a lot of guys want to be, a lot of girls, people want to be shredded. So, for example, one of the things that you can do is you can say, I'm going to track my calories. You know, I'm going to train my abdominal muscles in the gym. Or even another thing you could say is, I'm going to limit my sugar intake, or I'm going to limit liquid calories, like soda, alcohol, milkshake, whatever it is, right? Basically, I think that, well, it's important that everyone should have goals in a year, 5 years, whatever it is, right? Short term, long term, everyone should have goals. But a goal, I feel a goal is nothing without the steps to get to that goal. Because the goal is the destination. The steps are the journey, as everyone says about the journey, not the destination. So you want to make sure you have those steps, because having a goal is great, but if you don't know how to get to that goal, then essentially it's all talk. So if you can identify those goals, and you can identify the steps to get to that goal, that's even better. Like even for me, like a goal for me would be, if I could get to, let's say, a certain number of followers on the Instagram, or a certain amount of plays on an episode, I have to then figure out what are the steps that I'm going to take so that I can reach that, so that I can actually make meaningful progress and grow, you know, year to year, and improve. Because let's be honest, no one wants to just be stagnant, and no one just wants to be like in the same spot that they were a year ago. Everyone wants to be better like everyone wants to be better in 2023 than they are in 2022, just like everyone wants to be better this year as they were in 2021. It's perfectly natural if you ask me. So I just think that that's a good focusing tool that you can do, is to just think of some of your goals and what are a few steps that you can take to achieve that goal, and in a sense get the ball rolling so that it's not so daunting, because everyone needs to take a step, because even, and as much as I hate to say it, but no one's gonna, if you have goals, no one's gonna tell you what to do to get them. Like no one's, like if you want to work out, if you want to get in shape, no one's gonna tell you like, hey Johnny, go to the gym. No one's gonna tell Johnny that. If you want to go to the gym, if you want to improve your body, even if you want to improve your mind and you want to meditate, or if you go to therapy, no one's going to tell you to meditate. No one's going to tell you to go to therapy. Those are things that you and only you can do. And something a quote I kind of live by, even though I'm not really the most, to be honest, I'm not the most religious person ever, but a quote that's interesting to me is, God helps those who help themselves. And I like that idea of that, because if, like in religion, in order for the Lord to help you, you need to be able to put yourself first and help yourself. So the same thing applies with pretty much anything in life. Like if you like it's just, if any of you, if you need help, you need to be the one that advocates to get that help. You need to reach out to someone and say, I need help. I want to get better at this. And trust me, it's not a weakness to ask for help. It is not, especially and to be honest, especially for the men that are out there. I know that I know that some might think, oh, it's your man card's going to be taken away because you asked for help. No, it's not. I'm here to tell you that your man card will 100% still be there, even if you ask for help. It 100% will be. Asking for help is not a weak thing to do at all. Asking for help is very strong. It shows that you care about yourself and that you want to improve. At least that's how I see it. So I think that you need to do what's best for you in 2022. And I think another big thing that we should leave in 2021 is excuse making. I'm going to be quite honest. I think anyone out there that makes excuses, you're telling yourself a lie. I can't remember the exact video I watched, but there was a video that was sent to me where this guy was basically saying those excuses you tell yourself, lies. They're lies. An excuse, if you think about it, it's just you justifying what you didn't do right or what you didn't do to take those steps. Like, for example, it's almost like, I know it's a weird theme to keep going up with working out, but it's just kind of how it is. If you don't go to the gym, let's say, oh well, I would have went to the gym, but then my car got a flat tire. It's like, okay, well, couldn't you have asked someone for a ride to the gym, or couldn't you have went with a friend, or basically that thing. And I guess like it's taken a while for me to get to this, but for me, how I make sure I don't make excuses is, if I start to slip up and catch myself making an excuse, then I just kind of in my mind remind myself, I'm like, no, if these people that are successful, these people don't make excuses, why should I? And not that I'm comparing myself to other people, I'm just saying that the most successful people don't make excuses, so why I shouldn't make excuses either. And it's even something simple. It's like, let's say you forgot something on a trip, you forgot to pack something, and it's like, oh well, it should have been laid out here this way, this way. It's like, no, no, no. It's like, no, that's on you. Making excuses is just, to be honest, is kind of just shifting the blame elsewhere, and it's not taking complete 100% accountability for your actions. I think it's as simple as that, and I think the sooner that we can stop making excuses, I think it's even better. Or things like that. Like it's just, and that's in life, and not just like in working out or in sports. It's life in general, that I feel like when you cut out the excuses, I feel like you're a freer person. I feel, at least for me, not making excuses anymore. I'm 100% honest with myself. I'm upfront with myself. I say, yeah, I don't make excuses anymore. It's for the better. I like that I don't make excuses anymore because making excuses, to be quite honest, is such a waste of time. You are a productive person out there, and you can be so much more productive when you just block out all the noise and block out all the excuses and not even make excuses anymore. It's making excuses will only hamper you long term. It's like that quote that says when you cheat, it's the only person, like, especially like if you, like, not talking about relationships, but it's like if you cheat, like, let's say you cheat yourself, like you cheat, like, let's say you're doing a drill in a sport and you leave earlier, you don't like run all the way to the line if you're running suicides. The only person you're cheating is yourself, and that's what excuses are. You're cheating yourself. So I implore everyone to be better this year, not to make excuses, not to not to to let yourself go down that path, that victim path. Accountability is such an underrated trait, and I think looking in the mirror, and because honestly, everyone, including myself, we all have days where we don't have great days. 300 every day, like 365, we don't have 365 good days. We have bad days in there. And I think the sooner we can realize that not every day is going to be a good day, and that we can, the sooner you can bounce back and honestly just tell yourself, yeah, today wasn't a good day. Tomorrow's going to be even better, because it does get better. It always does. So if you can tell yourself that and make that your mindset, that you have a bad day, it's like, I look at it this way. You have a bad day, good news, sun comes up tomorrow, you're going to have a better day tomorrow. If you had a good day, great. The sun comes up tomorrow. Have another good day. That's the mindset I have. And I think that every single person listening can have that mindset. I think that that's contagious, that positive attitude. And that's another thing. I think in 2022, I mean, I know it's tough with COVID and Omicron, just all that garbage that's circulating around. I think I think one thing that we should strive to do as humans is spread positivity, because I think it is entirely too easy to spread negativity. To tell someone, oh, you can't do that. You'll never be this. You'll never be that. It's so easy to be negative. Let's prop each other up in 2022. Let's, like, someone tells you an idea, like, you support that. You support them. You prop them up. You say, you can do this. I believe in you. I know you can do great things, because being positive like that goes such a long way. And people don't even, you don't even realize it, but people, when you show some positivity and you believe in people, it gives them so much more confidence, and it really helps them long term. So that's just what I think. I think that we need to be more positive as a society, and that we can help, if we can help lift each other up and not belittle each other. I think for the collective good, I think that that's invaluable, and I just think that that's very good. So that's what I think. But yeah, it's kind of how it is. Anyway, that'll be it for this episode of PK's Place, solo episode. I hope everyone enjoyed it. I'd love to hear your feedback if you'd like to see even more solo episodes in the future. I probably will try to mix them in here and there. Obviously, I prefer to have a guest to work off of and talk to, but it's not always the case. It's not always the case, and I don't mind hopping on here, sharing my thoughts about life, just really anything. Um, Remember to find me on Instagram at p.hughes15 and the podcast at PK's Place Podcast on Instagram. Be sure to leave a 5-star rating on both Spotify and Apple, or wherever you get your podcast. I really appreciate those ratings. They mean a lot to me. Leave a review. Let me know what you like, what you want to see. As always, I appreciate, I look forward to seeing everyone in the next episode. Like I said, I hope everyone had a fun, safe, Happy New Year. 2022, let's make 2022 our year. And I guess the last thing I'm going to leave everyone with, control what you can, only worry about what you can control. And if you do that, I think you'll be even more freer mentally. So thanks everyone for listening. Have a good week.